Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for helping in. It's great to have you here. If you don't know me, my name is Ransom Nyema. I'm a third year medical student studying radiography here in Nigeria and also um, a medical content writer. I do a lot of writings for a couple of companies and a couple of personal clients out there. And today is an amazing session where I have an amazing guest speaker. Dr. Tyler. Hey, Dr. Tyler, could you introduce yourself to the audience?
Hi, yes. Yeah, I'm Tala Kassm. I am a physician and ophthalmologist in the United States, and I am also a certified life coach. And I talk a lot about physician burnout. I work with coaching clients that are primarily physicians, and we work on eliminating burnout and achieving work-life balance. So I'm very passionate about it, and I'm excited to be here and talk with you all about it.
Amazing. Thank you so much for helping in. So, we have a couple of questions for you to, answer for the public. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. The first question goes this way. What strategies can doctors use to manage stress and prevent burnout in demanding jobs out there? So, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, to manage the stress, I think a big one is for doctors all to be aware of why they're feeling stressed is number one. Everyone's a little bit different. But in general, I think a lot of doctors, we go into this field to help people and take care of people, but sometimes we take that role on too much, meaning we take on their problems or we get this mentality that we can fix people. And the reality is we can't fix people. We can offer the tools and resources we have to patients, but sometimes they either don't take it or they do and they have a disease that we can't cure, or we can only do as much as we can. And a lot of reasons I see doctors get burned out is because they take on the patient's problems as their own and like I said, just want to fix everyone. So I think being realistic of what our roles are as physicians, being realistic with yourself is really important to manage the stress, because you're dealing with sick people and people want to be better, and so they expect you to make them better, and we're not always able to do that. So that's one of the big things. And as well as learning where and when it's okay to say no. And I don't mean saying no to patients and not taking care of them, but as physicians, we are pulled in many different directions. And one of the other reasons we get burned out is because we are asked to do a lot, whether it's administrative work, seeing more patients, scheduling more hours, doing more surgeries. And you have to learn to take care of yourself and listen to your body and yourself. And when it's too much, you need to slow down, listen to those cues, and say no to taking on another project or another task. Say no to being on the board, and kind of limiting the things you do to the things that you enjoy doing and the things that don't zap all of your energy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Prioritizing the most important things is really important. It can help in prevention of burnout. Most medical professionals out there. Thank you so much for illustrating that for us. So the second question is, how can a certified life coach like you help patients, create and maintain a healthy work-life balance? So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So, one of the first things I do with clients is come up with priorities, like you mentioned. So, a lot of us don't take the time to actually think about what are my values? What are my priorities in life? And that's how we end up saying yes to everything and doing everything. When with work and same with your family life, you have to get clear on what's the most important thing, because we can't do it all. We want to, but we just can't. I would love to learn three languages and travel the world and be with my kids and read four different books right now, but I can't do all that right now. So right now I'm going to focus on what's the most important, which is building my career and spending time with my kids. And so, one of the first things we do is come up with the core values and priorities. A certified life coach can also help someone also get clear on what patterns that they have that are not serving them. So, I work with a type of coaching where we really look at our thoughts to see what they're creating for us. So, an example would be, a lot of times doctors will get into this mentality of, I have to do this, I have to serve everyone, and you don't have to, you're choosing to. And changing that verbiage makes a big deal because we lose our power when we say we have to. I have to see all these patients versus you're choosing to. And I want to be here. I want to see these patients. I want to take care of them. I want to show up and do this work. That's way more empowering. So it seems like a small thing, but working on the thought work around that really can change your whole mentality. And so it's not just about changing, the job or changing the number of patients you see, but the way that you show up for the job as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for, throwing some insights on that question for the audience to grab something off it. I believe the audience really learned something off it. Thanks so much, Doctor, for that question answered by you. So the third question goes this way. Are you ready for the third question?
Yes.
What is the most common cause of physician burnout, and how do they intend to solve problems? So, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, a lot of my clients, like I already mentioned, it has to do with spreading themselves too thin, saying yes to too much. But a big reason physicians are getting burned out is that they're feeling disempowered. And that's whether they're in private practice, in an academic setting, it really doesn't matter because we're always answering to something greater than us, whether it's the insurance companies, an academic institution with all of their rules and regulations. And so it can happen in any setting. And when we feel disempowered, we're not motivated and we lose the interest in it. And so this is the most common thing I hear doctors say. I don't have control over my schedule. I don't get to decide where I am and how many people I see. So, it's very frustrating. So to solve these problems, again, this is what we work on, what I work on with people, and we tease out what are circumstances that you can change. Like maybe you can change the number of patients you see, you just haven't asked. Maybe you can change the hours you work and you just haven't thought to ask. And then there are circumstances you can't change. Like you can't change what the insurance says of how long you can spend with a patient or how much they reimburse. So that's where we work on our thoughts around it and learning to accept the things we can't change and then figuring out what can we change and how can we change it.
I love that. I love that. I really love that question being answered by you. Thanks so much for that. I really grabbed something off it. You know, there are things you can't move, there are things you can't change as a human being, and you just have to focus on the things you get your hands on and the things you can change. So, yeah, thank you so much for that.
Mhm.
How does self care work in the life of a doctor? What do they intend to prioritize as a medical doctor?
It really varies from person to person. I always say like self-care isn't really necessarily about the act you're doing, but how you're doing it. So for one person, self-care might be getting a massage once a month. Another person that might be going for a run. And it's about how you show up, turning off tech, putting the phone on silent, not answering emails, and being present to that activity. Maybe it's going to the nail salon, maybe it's going on a walk with a friend, but being present to that activity, not distracted and enjoying that activity. So doing something that really lights you up and fills you up and allowing yourself to enjoy it and not being distracted by the 100 emails in your inbox or the patient you have who's not doing well and you're not sure what to do next with them. Of course, you need to take care of that patient, but you also need to give yourself a mental break from those stresses because once you start working, there's going to be those patients that keep you up at 3 a.m. that you're worried about and they're struggling and not doing well. And if you let that run around in your mind all the time, you're going to get burned out and run down. So allowing yourself mental space to relax and take care of yourself. Like I said, the self-care can be getting enough rest. A lot of doctors I work with, they want to exercise more. And working on the diet, spending time with their family, it really varies. But like I said, it's how you do it is what we work on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, thank you so much for answering that question. So the next question goes this way. I think so. Before I ask that question, is how do you in particular, how did you make a switch as an ophthalmologist and now a certified life coach. Why this transition? I want to know more about that.
Yeah, so I've always been a very naturally curious person. And when I was in medical school, I considered becoming a psychiatrist because I love to know how people are and think and why we are the way we are. I've very always been interested in self-growth and that journey. My husband went into psychiatry, so I thought we couldn't both do that. We need someone to branch out. So I picked ophthalmology, and I'm so glad I did. But in my journey, I ended up getting very burnt out for all the reasons we mentioned and got to the point that I thought I was going to leave medicine. And then I found coaching. I was thinking about actually becoming a therapist, and someone mentioned life coaching. And I went through my own experience with a program that's for women physicians, and it was transformative. And then I decided to get certified, and that was an amazing experience. And so it's actually gotten me to the point where I'm no longer burnt out. And instead of leaving medicine, I decided I wanted to keep doing medicine part time and do coaching as well. So it not only helped me feel better, but now I'm so excited to share that with other physicians because I know what it's like. I've been there and I'm not there anymore. And so it's super fun.
Yeah, that means you're really experienced in answering these questions. No wonder you're answering these questions amazing well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. Yeah, that was a nice journey altogether, and I believe that you never gave up and you still achieved your intentions. And I believe that the audience still, try to do what they love to do and not what they just feeling slogan, to be or something. So it's cool. Thank you so much for explaining your journey to us.
Yeah,
Are you
absolutely.
ready for the fifth question?
I am.
How does the workplace help doctors manage work and mental health? What are your perception about that?
It really varies again. I think people in private practice, there's not as much of that necessarily talked about. And I think it just varies because there's no guideline there. I will say in academic centers, there's more of that. They are more aware of the burnout and they do try to incorporate more wellness events, wellness awareness, whether it's grand rounds, lectures, or even like, opening fitness centers on campus, so things like that. I know, scribes have become a big thing in the medical field. I think they started out more so in emergency medicine, and now they've spread to all fields in medicine for the most part. And that is the reason for that is for burnout prevention. So that definitely helps. And I think just in general, there's more awareness of mental health, of depression, anxiety, and, with resident work hours being limited, encouraging better sleep. So, like I said, it's happening more and more, but I think it's starting more in academic centers and kind of spreading out from there.
All right, cool, cool, amazing. So, you've been an amazing guest speaker, Dr. Tala, and I believe that the audience will really find this discussion very valuable and very interesting to listen to. So we have two more questions to go. Are you ready?
Yep.
Now, this question goes this way. What strategies or tools do you think can, medical doctors out there or medical professionals out there use to increase energy and happiness for them?
Well, to increase energy, I know that you're doctors out there, but sometimes doctors are the worst patients. So drink more water. That's number one. I can't tell you how many people do not drink enough water. And I've seen doctors I work with who don't take a water break the whole morning, like for 4 hours. I can't even imagine. I have this water bottle with me at all times. It's 1 liter and I drink four of these a day. So drink more water. I can guarantee you're not drinking enough. And then diet. I mean, diet is a huge part. I mean, we are what we eat. So, you know, we're busy and it's hard to eat well. I see what the residents eat. Some of them just even skip meals, but take the time to get better nutrition for yourself. And whether it's, just making salads or whatever you can do to, eat regular meals and eat well, and then get enough sleep. I know it's basic, drink water, eat healthy, and get sleep, but this is truly the foundation. And enough sleep is different for everyone. So some people it's 6 hours, some people it's 8 hours, but prioritize your sleep. Your mind will work better, your mood will be better. I mean, sleep's just so important for our mental health. You'll be a better doctor and your patients will be grateful and all of that. And then in terms of happiness, I mean, once your energy is better, you will be happier, but I think it also comes back to getting clear on what's really important to you and then working towards that and not worrying about all the other stuff because the rest of it's just noise and distractions. And remembering that you always have a choice. I think a lot of us get unhappy because we feel powerless, like we mentioned earlier. So remember, you always have a choice and you just get clear on what you want and then ask for it. Because the worst thing that can happen is someone says no, but at least you asked.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for, throwing some insights about that question for the audience to, get enlightened. Thank you so much. Now, the last question goes this way. How can physicians, or other medical practitioners out there create a stable and satisfying, career while reducing this risk of burnout? I hope you can answer that question. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's more of what we've already talked about. Always, I think it's important to be honest with yourself and check in with yourself and really understand like what do you truly want? Not what your parents wanted for you, not what the society wants for you, or your significant other, but what do you want? And, I've met a lot of doctors who've left medicine. And I'm not saying that everyone should do that. Obviously, we need doctors, but I think the main thing is being honest with yourself. And that's how you'll find true happiness is because a lot of times we lie to ourselves and we do things because other people want it for us or out of guilt or obligation. And we're not going to be truly happy if that's our reasoning. So and that's why I say be honest because people think that they are doing it for reasons that are going to make them happy and it ends up not being that way. And then be honest with yourself. If you don't like the job you're in, maybe you just need to try a different setting. Maybe it's private practice versus academic or hospital setting. Maybe you need to try reduced hours or different hours. I asked to start my day at 8:30 instead of 8. It's a small change, but it made a difference for me so that I could have that time in the morning with my kids. And so I don't mind starting my day later. And I worked with other doctors who, like to work until 2 p.m. They work, 8 to 2 p.m. so they can be there to pick up their kids from work. And so it's little changes like that that really improve quality of life because you get everything. You get the family time you want, but you get to show up and work with patients and do patient care. So like I said, knowing what you want and asking for it and being honest with yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. That was so deep. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I believe that the audience will grab something off it. So, Doctor, you've been an amazing guest speaker. So, what are your last words for the audience before we wrap up the session?
I just want to say thank you for having me on here. I hope this was helpful and just know that you're not alone. The medical system, I think probably throughout the world, but definitely in the United States, it's changed a lot. And I think a lot of us get done with training and it's not what we expected. And, that's okay. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but, you just want to be realistic about it and, learn to find your happiness in it, in the system that it is. And it kind of comes back to like recognizing what you can change and what you can't and finding a happy medium. So thank you again. And it was great to meet you. And I wish you all well.
Yeah, thanks so much for that. So if you like this content, do well to, subscribe, share, like, and comment, and also do share it to network because it's gonna help someone out there. So thank you so much. Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, audience. Expect more content upcoming. Thank you so much.